Hello everybody, in this video we are going to continue the conversation that we've been having about regressions, function regressions, linear regressions, quadratic regressions. We even threw in some arithmetic sequences in there, but today and in this video we are going to focus on exponential regressions. So the steps that we have learned for the other two is going to apply to this one. Notice that this one has given us a table. It specifically tells us in the description that we're talking about an exponential equation or an exponential function. So that automatically should let us know that we cannot use the 3 for linear. We cannot use the 6 for quadratic. We're going to have to use something different to find an exponential equation. So when we did a linear function, we needed the m and the b to write the equation. For quadratic, we needed a, b, c to find the quadratic equation. For exponential, we need 2, but we're going to call them a and b. So if you're not familiar with an exponential equation, let me show you what it looks like. We're going to start off with y equals a, b. Notice that b is in parentheses. And each equation has to have an x, but our x is actually the exponent. So, a times b raised to the x power. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go through the steps. So y'all grab your calculator. We're still using the TI Nspire here. We're going to go to the home page, and we're going to find lists and spreadsheets. Now I have already deleted my previous tables, so notice that there's nothing up here. So if you have anything extra or you just want to clean it up, you want to hit this little X and say no, I don't want to save it, and then it'll give you a blank sheet. So goodness. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up to A, label it X, type in the x values from the table, do the same thing with b, label it y, and then put the y values. So let's take a minute to do that real quick. All right, so I have just typed in all my x's, all my y's. So I'm going to go to the top. I just like getting into the habit of going to the top so that way all the information I need is right here. So because this is an exponential equation, we're still going to hit menu. We're going to do stat. We're going to go to 1. Now, when you get to this list right here, like I said, it's not a linear equation, so not 3. It's not quadratic either, so we're not going to use 6. If you go to the very bottom of this list, you're going to see exponential regression. Now, if you don't see exponential regression, you might need to scroll a little bit further down, but on my calculator, it's right here. So I'm going to hit A on the keypad, but you can go down and hit enter if you want to. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I've been doing to all of these. I'm going to tell them where the x's are. I'm going to tell them where the y's are, and then hit enter. Now, for this one, like I said, it's AB written as an exponential equation. So, because we haven't spent a whole lot of time talking about exponentials, let's go ahead and set it up. So we're going to say y is equal to A. I think we're just going to leave that as a 2. Or you can do 2.01 if you want to. But I'm just going to go ahead and round it to a 2. For B, we can go ahead and round that to right there, 1.8. And our x is just our x. Okay? So this is the equation. This is what the equation looks like. So if you look at part C, it says predict the number of daily hits for SpendCo in 2015. Once again, we're not using 2015. That's not our x value. Our x value is 15 because we're looking to see how many years after 2000. So 2015 is 15 years later. So for this one, remember that your x is the exponent, so you're going to replace it with 15. So I'm going to go ahead and write it out, and we're going to type it into our calculator. Raised to the 15th power. We're not multiplying by 15, we're raising it to the 15th power. So we might get a crazy number, but let's see. So once again, I'm going to go to this corner. I'm going to not save this document. It takes me here. I do a lot of my calculating work in the Scratchpad. I know everybody does it differently, but I'm going to type in 2 and then 1.8. Now, let me move this up so you guys can see here. Now, if you're trying to raise it to the second power, you're going to hit this button and it's going to throw a 2 up there, an exponent of 2. But because we're trying to use a 15, use this button right here. This button allows you to type in whatever number you want as an exponent. So I'm going to hit that. It puts a little box up there so I can put 15. And notice I'm not multiplying by 15, but I'm raising it to the 15th power. All right, from here, I'm going to hit enter, and it does give me this number right here. So we know that 13,493.30. Okay. And this one, we can write it as an ordered pair as well. That after 15 years, we have all these hits. Now you can leave the 0.30, but because we're talking about daily hits, I don't think most of them are decimals, so we can round that down and leave it like that. All right, that's it. That is it for exponential regressions. Because we spent the majority of our time learning how to do regressions in the linear regressions, all we have to know is whenever you're reading a problem, please make sure you identify those keywords. So if it tells you exponential, then use the exponential regression. If it tells you quadratic, then use that. And if it tells you linear, it's basically telling you what format they want these numbers in. Okay. Well, that's it. That is everything that has to do with exponential regressions. I hope that this example and using the calculator has helped, and I'll see you guys in the next videos.